What if your heart stopped right now and no one was there to help? For millions of seniors, that's not a hypothetical. In the next 5 minutes, 12 older adults will suffer a heart attack, and half of them will be completely alone. The terrifying truth? Most won't survive, not because help didn't exist, but because they didn't know what to do in time. But today, that changes. In this video, you'll learn 7 proven steps that could double your chances of survival if a heart attack strikes when you're alone. These aren't theories. They're real tactics that have already saved lives. The hidden symptoms doctors don't emphasize. When most people imagine a heart attack, they picture the Hollywood version: sudden, crushing chest pain and someone collapsing to the floor. But for seniors, the warning signs often look nothing like that. In fact, nearly 40% of seniors who suffer a heart attack never feel chest pain at all. That's why so many go unnoticed until it's too late. Instead of pain, seniors are more likely to experience what doctors call atypical symptoms. But let's be clear, there's nothing atypical about them if you're over 60. These are the real red flags, and knowing them could save your life. Take Joyce, for example. She was 83, healthy for her age, and still active in her community. One afternoon, she felt suddenly exhausted, a wave of fatigue that hit out of nowhere. No chest pain, no arm numbness, just a strange off feeling and a little lightheadedness. She almost ignored it, until her neighbor noticed her slurring her words and called 911. Joyce was having a heart attack, and if she'd gone to lie down for a nap like she planned, she might not have woken up. So what should you watch for? Sudden, unusual fatigue that doesn't make sense. This isn't just being tired after a long day. It's a deep, draining weakness. Shortness of breath, especially if it happens while resting or with mild activity. Cold, clammy sweating that comes on without warning. Nausea, indigestion, or upper stomach discomfort. Symptoms often confused with something you ate. Dizziness, lightheadedness, or sudden confusion. For seniors, confusion alone can be a warning sign. Discomfort in the neck, jaw, back, or arms, even if the chest feels fine. Sleep disturbances or unexplained anxiety days before the attack. Your body sometimes whispers before it screams. Women over 60 are especially prone to these subtler symptoms and more likely to misinterpret them. The point is simple. Don't wait for pain to believe something's wrong. If your body suddenly feels off in more than one way, especially if symptoms come on fast, trust your instincts and take action immediately. Coming up next, what to do the moment you notice these signs, because recognizing them is only the first step in staying alive. The mistake that kills: driving yourself. You feel strange. Something's not right. Your chest is tight, you're out of breath, maybe even dizzy. And instinctively, you think, I'll drive myself to the hospital. But that decision? It could be fatal. Every year, thousands of seniors die not because help didn't exist, but because they tried to get there themselves. Here's the truth. Driving yourself during a heart attack is one of the most dangerous decisions you can make. Why? Because your heart is already struggling to pump blood. Add stress, steering, traffic, and adrenaline, and you're pushing your heart even closer to failure. Even a minor movement could trigger a full cardiac arrest behind the wheel. Take Anthony, a fiercely independent 76-year-old. Last spring, he felt pressure in his chest and shortness of breath. He dismissed it as nothing serious, but just to be safe, he grabbed his keys and started driving to the ER. Halfway there, he blacked out at an intersection and crashed. A stranger called 911. He survived, barely, but he later told his doctor, "That was the dumbest decision I ever made." If he had just called 911 from home, paramedics would have been there within minutes, with medication, oxygen, and life-saving equipment ready to go the second they arrived. Here's what you need to know. Modern ambulances are mobile emergency rooms. When you call 911, treatment starts immediately, not when you reach the hospital. EMTs can give life-saving meds, perform CPR, even use defibrillators before you even get into the vehicle. And while they're helping you, the hospital team is being alerted and preparing for your arrival. So what should you do if you're alone and feel symptoms? Stop moving. Sit or lie in a comfortable, supported position. Call 911 immediately and say, "I'm a senior having possible heart attack symptoms." Unlock your door or front gate so emergency crews can get in if you lose consciousness. Use a medical alert device if you have one. It can connect you directly to help. Call a family member after you've already spoken to 911, not before. In a heart attack, minutes aren't just precious. They're survival. Coming up, the little white pill in your cabinet that can buy you time, but only if you take it the right way. The chewed pill that buys you time. There's a tiny white pill sitting in most medicine cabinets that can buy you the most valuable thing during a heart attack: time. But most people don't realize there's a right way and a wrong way to use it, and doing it wrong could cost you your life. That pill is aspirin, not Tylenol, not ibuprofen, just plain, regular aspirin. During a heart attack, your heart is being starved of oxygen because a clot is blocking blood flow. Aspirin helps slow that clot from growing. It doesn't break it apart, but it can keep things from getting worse while help is on the way. But here's what most people get wrong. They swallow it, whole, with water. That's exactly what Sylvia did. At 68, she started feeling tightness in her chest and pressure in her jaw. Remembering she'd heard aspirin could help, she calmly reached for it, took a glass of water, and swallowed one regular tablet. By the time she reached the hospital, she'd lost 20 minutes of critical treatment time because the pill hadn't started working yet. Later, she was stunned to learn that what she thought was helping actually delayed the effects. If you're having a heart attack, the aspirin has to get into your bloodstream fast. And the fastest way to do that? Chew it. Don't swallow. Chewing breaks it down instantly so it can start thinning your blood within minutes, not half an hour later. Also, you don't need a full bottle. Just one adult-strength aspirin or 4 low-dose baby aspirins will do. Chew them thoroughly and swallow with just a tiny sip of water, if needed. Not a full glass. Not a meal. Let your 911 dispatcher and the paramedics know exactly how much you took and when. That helps them know how to treat you when they arrive. And if you're thinking, "I'll just grab it if I ever need it," stop right there. In an emergency, every second matters, and you won't be thinking clearly. The aspirin needs to be somewhere easy to reach. Your bedside table, your purse, your kitchen counter. It could mean the difference between walking out of the hospital or not. Coming up next, why the way you position your body while waiting for help can make or break your survival. Body position that can save your life. When your heart is in crisis, even how you sit or lie down can affect whether you survive. It's a detail most people never think about, but the wrong position can make it harder to breathe, strain your heart even more, and speed up the damage. And yet, the right position? It can keep your heart working just enough to buy you precious minutes. Most people assume lying flat is the safest move. But for seniors, that can actually be dangerous, especially if you're struggling to breathe. That's exactly what happened to Carlos, a 77-year-old who started experiencing chest pressure and dizziness one afternoon while home alone. He remembered seeing someone in a movie lying flat during a heart attack, so he did the same. Within minutes, his breathing became harder, and he started feeling lightheaded. When paramedics arrived, they had to quickly lift him upright to relieve the pressure on his lungs. The truth is, your position should help your lungs expand and your heart work as efficiently as possible. Sitting upright with your back well supported, like in a sturdy chair or propped up on pillows, is often the best choice, especially if you're short of breath. It reduces strain, improves oxygen flow, and can ease that crushing feeling in your chest. If you're feeling dizzy or faint, a slightly reclined position with your legs bent can help keep blood flowing to your brain without adding extra pressure to your heart. And if nausea is your biggest symptom, try turning slightly to your left side while sitting up. This can help prevent choking if vomiting happens. Another overlooked detail: clothing, tight belts, restrictive bras, buttoned collars. These all make things worse. Loosen anything around your chest, neck, or waist to help you breathe freely. And don't forget temperature. Cold sweats are common, and seniors are more vulnerable to drops in body heat. If you start to feel cold, cover yourself with a blanket. Shivering forces your heart to work even harder. Also, think ahead about where you'd position yourself. If you're upstairs and the symptoms start, don't try to move. Stay put, call 911, and let them come to you. Moving could make things worse fast. You've made the call. You've taken the aspirin. You're in the right position. Now there's one more tool that can calm your heart and give you the control you need in those critical moments. And it's something you've been doing your entire life: breathing. The breathing hack to slow your heart. When your heart feels like it's racing out of control, your chest is tight, and panic starts to set in, the natural reaction is to breathe faster. But that's exactly what your heart doesn't need. Fast, shallow breathing only increases the stress on your body, and for seniors in the middle of a heart attack, that extra strain can push your heart past the breaking point. But what if you could calm your system with nothing but your breath? There's a simple technique known as 4-7-8 breathing, and it's more powerful than you'd think. It's not just for stress or sleep. It can actually help regulate your heartbeat, improve oxygen flow, and keep your mind from spiraling into full-blown panic. And in the moments between calling 911 and help arriving, that calm might be the very thing that saves your life. Vivian, a 71-year-old former schoolteacher, credits this technique with helping her survive her heart attack last spring. When her chest felt tight and the room started spinning, she remembered the breathing exercise her doctor had taught her. She sat upright, placed her hands on her knees, and began to focus. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds holding, 8 seconds out. She repeated the cycle again and again until paramedics arrived. She told them, "It was like having something to hold on to. It kept me from panicking and making things worse. Here's how it works. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for 7, and then exhale fully and slowly through your mouth for 8. That long, controlled exhale sends a signal to your nervous system to slow everything down: your heart rate, your blood pressure, even the adrenaline that's flooding your body. And there's a bonus. Focusing on your breath gives your mind something to do. It pulls your attention away from fear and toward action, keeping you grounded, aware, and better able to respond if your condition changes. This technique won't stop a heart attack, but it can help you stay calm, reduce the stress on your heart, and extend that critical survival window. Next, we're heading into a controversial method that some doctors won't even talk about. But in a worst-case scenario, it might be the only move that gives you a fighting chance. The secret CPR technique you're not supposed to know. Let's be clear, if you lose consciousness during a heart attack, there's no way to perform real CPR on yourself. But what if you could delay that moment, fight back for just a little longer, even if no one's around to help? There's a technique you'll rarely hear about in a doctor's office. Some experts call it risky, others call it desperate. But in a worst-case scenario, when you're alone, your vision starts to blur, and you feel yourself slipping, this method might be your only shot at staying alive long enough for help to arrive. It's called self-administered chest compression. And while it's not CPR in the traditional sense, it's a last-ditch effort to keep blood moving to your brain and heart if you feel yourself about to pass out. Samuel, a 74-year-old retired forest ranger, learned about the technique during a CPR training course years ago. One summer night at his remote cabin, he felt a sudden crushing pressure in his chest and a wave of nausea. Alone and miles from help, he called 911. But before he could say more than his address, he felt himself fading. That's when he lay flat on the wooden floor, made a fist, placed it over his breastbone, and began pushing rhythmically into his chest with his other hand. He kept going for several minutes until his neighbor, hearing the dispatcher's call, burst through the door. He survived. The doctor later told him, "Whatever you did, kept your heart going just long enough." Here's how it works. Lie down on a firm, flat surface, not a bed or couch. Make a fist and place it over the center of your chest, right on your breastbone. Use your other hand to push forcefully and quickly, compressing your chest about 2 inches deep at a steady pace. Aim for the rhythm of 100 beats per minute, the same beat as the song "Staying Alive." It's not pretty, it's not perfect, but if your heart is starting to give out, it could help generate just enough circulation to keep you conscious, or buy time until emergency responders reach you. Yes, there's risk, especially for seniors with fragile bones or prior injuries. But when the alternative is complete cardiac arrest, doing something is better than doing nothing. Coming up next, the plan you can build right now that could take the panic out of an emergency and give you total control. Build your survival plan before you need it. By the time you're having a heart attack, your body is in chaos. Your thoughts are foggy, your breathing is shallow, and fear takes over. That's not the moment to start figuring out what to do. It's the moment to follow a plan you've already prepared. Because the truth is, panic doesn't kill. Confusion does. Having a personal heart attack survival plan in place means you don't have to rely on instinct when your mind is clouded. Instead, you move step by step through a routine you already know, like muscle memory. Just ask Louise, 79, who lives alone in a small apartment. She'd been healthy for years, but had a family history of heart disease. After hearing stories of seniors not making it to the hospital in time, she decided to get serious. She made a plan, practiced it, and reviewed it with her kids. When she finally did experience symptoms, sudden nausea, dizziness, and confusion, she didn't hesitate. She followed her checklist exactly, called 911, took her aspirin, unlocked the door, sat upright, focused on her breathing. Paramedics were at her side in under 10 minutes, and because she didn't waste a second wondering what to do, she survived with minimal damage. So what should your plan include? Start with a small emergency info card. Keep it in your wallet and on your fridge. It should list your name, medications, allergies, health conditions, and emergency contacts. EMTs will look for this if you're unresponsive. Place aspirin in multiple easy-to-reach spots: your nightstand, your purse, your kitchen drawer. Make sure it's regular aspirin, not coated or expired. Program your emergency contacts in your phone with ICE, in case of emergency, before their name. Set up your phone's medical ID feature. Many first responders are trained to look for it. If you live alone, consider getting a medical alert device, one that includes fall detection or emergency GPS. Some look like jewelry or watches, and many connect directly to 911. Also, make sure your house number is clearly visible from the street. It sounds small, but in the dark or during bad weather, it can shave off critical minutes. And perhaps most importantly, practice. Walk through your plan like it's a fire drill. When seconds count, instinct can't be trusted. Rehearsal can. Now, let's bring it all together with the real-life story that proves every single one of these steps works when it matters most. The real story that proves it all. By now, you've heard the steps. You know the warning signs, the breathing trick, the aspirin tip. But none of that matters if it feels like theory. So let's talk about someone who actually lived through it, because he was prepared. Richard was 72, recently widowed, and spent most of his days gardening. He wasn't unhealthy, but he wasn't expecting a heart attack either. One warm afternoon, while pulling weeds in his backyard, he felt an odd wave of fatigue, not tiredness, but a strange, heavy pressure in his upper back. He paused, confused. No chest pain, no numb arm, just off. But Richard had heard these were the exact symptoms seniors shouldn't ignore. So instead of brushing it off or lying down just to rest, he followed the plan his doctor had helped him build months earlier. He stopped what he was doing, walked inside slowly, and sat upright on the firm couch near his front door. Then he called 911 and said clearly, "I think I'm having a heart attack. I'm 72. I'm alone." While staying on the line with the dispatcher, he chewed a non-coated aspirin he kept in his wallet, unlocked the front door, and focused on his breathing using the 4-7-8 technique his doctor had taught him. He didn't panic. He just executed. Paramedics arrived within 12 minutes, fast but long enough that every step Richard took beforehand mattered. They found him stable, alert, and in the correct position. At the hospital, tests confirmed a 95% blockage in what cardiologists call the widowmaker artery. That's the kind of heart attack people rarely walk away from. But Richard didn't just survive. He recovered with minimal damage thanks to those first few minutes of action. 6 months later, he was back in his garden, this time with a second phone and emergency alert device clipped to his belt. He told his cardiologist, "If I had waited or gone to lie down or tried to drive, I wouldn't be here." His story is the proof. Preparation isn't fear, it's power. And now that you know what Richard knew, you've got that power too. So the real question is, will you build your plan before you need it? Or will you wait and hope for the best? Because when it comes to heart attacks, hope is not a strategy. Action is. If this video could save one life, maybe even yours, then it's worth sharing. Hit that like button, subscribe for more life-saving tips made for seniors, and share this with someone you care about. Don't wait for a crisis to get prepared. Start now.